January 1st, 2026. We made it to another year. Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Chuck Oliveris. Welcome back to We Need to Talk. Kind of a new title, minus one word, kind of a new look. We're outside today, which I'm pretty excited about because the weather's been kind of cold and all over the country, I hear people are getting sick and have colds and all kinds of stuff going on. But here we are in North Carolina at the Oliveris Ranch, and it's a beautiful day here today. So welcome back to the podcast. We're glad to be back. Everybody hopefully had a great holiday, Thanksgiving and Christmas. Our first two here with my in-laws, which was really nice and fantastic. Bonfires and food and good friends and stuff. So it was nice. Hope everybody else had a great holiday too. It's kind of weird, isn't it, to say 2026? I don't know. I was thinking about that this morning and I'm like, wow, 2026. Geez Louise. It kind of made me feel old, right? Because it kind of sounds futuristic now when you think about it, 2026, like we're in the future or something. One of the things I wanted to bring up today when we started the podcast was I was thinking about the podcast thing and how long they've been around and that kind of stuff. And I thought, well, it'd be interesting to kind of tell everybody where that came from. So I was kind of researching it a little bit. And let me get my glasses here because an old man needs his glasses. So this is interesting, and I didn't know this stuff, so I thought I'd share it for a lot of you people that are podcast listeners and stuff. But the name podcast, the term podcast, was coined in February of 2004 by a journalist by the name of Ben Hammersley in the Guardian newspaper. And it says he created the word by combining iPod and broadcast. And that's how he came up with podcast. I did not know that, so I thought that was pretty interesting. Anyway, I thought it'd be fun to kind of share that with you and then to just get a little more detailed about it to find out like when the first one was and all that kind of good stuff. So the very first podcast was hosted. It says they interviewed a guy who was a software developer, Dave Winer. And this interview was recorded and released in July of 2003. Winer used his RSS feed to enable the audio file, which another gentleman with the last name of Linden released on his blog. The invention of the technology was done by Adam Curry and Dave Winer and are credited with inventing the underlying technology for the whole podcast thing. They developed a system to automatically download audio files from RSS feeds to devices like iPods and etc. The concept came around 2000, and they created the first practical software, iPodder is what it was called, in 2004. So that's quite a long time when you think about it. There is a video I think you can catch on YouTube. You can watch the video to learn more about Adam Curry's role in the inventing of the podcasting and the other two gentlemen involved as well. So just interesting to know that because I never knew that stuff, that's for sure. So yeah, there you go. That's where podcast came from, and it's been around for a lot longer than I even realized that it has been. So I hope everybody had a great Christmas. Like I said, we had a pretty good one here in the Carolinas. The weather was great for us. And like I said, being outside today, this is awesome. It's brisk and it feels really, really, really good. And then I also wanted to just kind of ask people what they got for Christmas. I don't know what the shopping days were like out in the stores. We do everything online. So I don't know how crazy the stores got and all that kind of good stuff. But I do know that there was one particular item that the kids were excited about. And that was the new Bethany Barbie right there. Isn't she great? Look at her. Yeah. Bethany. She comes with everything too. Some of us probably know a girl like this. You can see the new Barbie is very much clear to the truth as far as meth heads and stuff like that. And there she is. And we see so many of them now, and children are so familiar with them that the little girls are now asking for a Bethany Barbie. And there she is with her lovely little bag of drugs and her syringes and all the stuff that needs to go with it. I know. I thought that was funny, though. Thought I'd share it with you. Hey, I wanted to say it was absolutely cool as hell to see Lady Diana Ross at the ball dropping in Times Square in New York City this year for the countdown. There's a shot of her there in her beautiful dress. Dude, I got to tell you something. When she came out and we saw her, I was thinking to myself, she's 81 years old. I had to look it up to make sure, but she's 81 years old and she looks fantastic. I mean, I just can't believe how good she looks. So kudos to Diana Ross. You know, she's a lot like Cher, up there in their 80s and still kicking ass and taking names. Now, she hasn't done Times Square in a long time. Of course, years ago, she did this big concert in the park there in New York, and it was planned out and everything. Well, what happened was it started pouring down rain, and she went ahead with the concert anyway, and it was a big deal, and it was televised. It was all over the place. So Diana Ross back again years later at 81 years old, rocking out Times Square on New Year's Eve 2026. There definitely ain't no mountain high enough for her. So I thought that was pretty cool. I saw this and I wanted to show it to you guys. Check this out. It's a taco joint. Not sure where it is, but look at their sign. Obviously, it is a cigarette paper zigzag pack, and the sign says Mexicali Street Treat or whatever, and it says taco joint. But when you look at it, we're also familiar with that packaging that you don't even see taco joint right away. You just see zigzag. So I know. So right, you go to that taco joint and you can have zigzag tacos or something. I thought that was crazy. Something cousin Matto sent me. We were supposed to do a podcast with him and his brother, my cousin DJ, who was up for Christmas. He was up at the Matto Bar in Sacramento with Maddie, and we never got around to doing the podcast. We're going to have all three of us on there, but we're going to have to link DJ in from San Diego and then get Matt on there from Sacramento and do a little family podcast with him, because the two of them together would definitely be something a little more special than what we normally do. But you all know my cousin Matt, you know, he's crazy. So he sent me this thing. It's supposed to be true. It's supposed to be a fact. I'm going to share it with him, and here it is. So it says, go ahead and sniff your own farts. Now, hold on. According to a new study by Johns Hopkins University, sniffing your own farts could boost brain power and prevent Alzheimer's. Researchers have found that hydrogen sulfide could protect aging brain cells from the cognitive decline. Who's going to do that? Right? Your old lady gets all crazy or something, like, you need a little cognitive help. Get over here and check this out. Thanks, Matto from Sacramento, for sending that to me for this one this week. And then another interesting thing that really, really kind of tripped me out, because we're talking about partying and the holidays and everything. So this just came out recently, and they're saying now that according to a new Gallup poll, only 54% of U.S. adults say that they drink alcohol now. It's the lowest percentage recorded in nearly 90 years. Researchers say that the drop may be tied to health concerns, rising prices, wellness trends, and younger generations choosing alternatives. Whether it's the hangovers, the economy, or the new wave of sober lifestyles, Americans are reassessing their relationship with alcohol in a major way. That is not surprising to me, and I'm going to tell you why, because I have a lot of friends now that quit drinking, and there's quite a few of them. So you have to find an alternative to partying and hanging out and stuff without the alcohol for some of these folks and stuff. And it's not a bad thing. There's nothing wrong with it. Mentioning the prices of booze and stuff, we were talking about this the other day, because if you go around to different bars, depending on where you're at, I always ask them how much the drinks are, because it changes whatever bar you're at and stuff. And I'm always surprised at how much they are in some places and how much they are in others. Obviously, your smaller little dive bars and things like that, the drinks are about $8. You know, I'm usually a Bacardi and Coke or a Jack and Coke guy. and they're about $8. Unless you go to a little more upscale bar, those can tend to be up to $10 and $12 a drink. So if you're a couple and you're both going out and you're both getting a drink at, $12 a drink, that's $24 every time you order a drink. So it's up to $100 in not too long. I mean, you all know when you go to dinner, if you don't order an alcoholic drink and you just order, sweet tea or something, and you have your dinner, it's not so bad. But as soon as you start adding the alcohol onto that, then it goes up quite a bit. So surprising that a lot of people aren't drinking anymore? No, there's all kinds of mocktails and all kinds of alternatives for that now. And I'm just wondering, is it still as fun? I don't know. But I just thought that was interesting. I'd share it with you because that's quite a drop. Lowest in 90 years. Pretty crazy. I always do this once in a while when I find out things that I didn't know. I love celebrities. I was a bodyguard for years in Hollywood. All that. My first podcasts were all about that. But now we need to talk because I found out a couple things about some big celebrities I didn't know. So today's show, we're going to go ahead and share those with you. And they're pretty significant things that I actually did not know. Most of these, which is unusual. Now, if Cousin Matto was on here with me from Sacramento, he'd probably know a few of these because he's really good at knowing that stuff. But check these out, and we'll go through them, and you're just going to have to tell me what you think later because it's super interesting. And I think that people don't realize all the time that celebrities are people too, right? So let's check out some of these interesting facts. I used to tell people all the time, celebrities are people too. They have things that have happened to them in their lives, their families, and things like that. So you just don't know. I mean, they're just like us, right? So here's a few. We'll start this off with this one here. So Christopher Walken, if you didn't know, the great Christopher Walken had been a lion tamer at one point. Now, what's funny about this to me is we already know that Christopher Walken's kind of fucking crazy, right? He always plays obscure roles and stuff like that. He's in a lot of music videos. I mean, he'll do anything. You know what I mean? Crazy guy. So does it surprise me that he used to tame lions? I don't know. Maybe not. But isn't that crazy? Now, I kind of want to see him tame a lion. Also on that list, Barbra Streisand actually cloned her dog, which was a very big deal. I remember people talking about this, but she had the money to do it. It was a dog she loved a lot. So Babs cloned her dog. That's crazy, right? Jenna Ortega, you all know this girl plays Wednesday. They said that she would perform lizard autopsies as a kid in her backyard on lizards all the time. Little Wednesday. Well, I mean, if you think about that, knowing that now, you're like, she's kind of the perfect Wednesday, isn't she? Yeah. And come on, they always cut up frogs in school anyway, right? Yeah. So Jenna Ortega out there cutting up lizards, doing autopsies. Harry Styles, he has 4 nipples. And they call this polythelia. So he has 4 nipples. There's a couple other celebrities that have nipples like that. And we'll cover that. We'll come back to Harry on this one. And then, of course, they said, and Oprah Winfrey's actual first name being Oprah, which is kind of surprising. They're as unusual as anyone else. Some of the talents and hobbies they list here for Geena Davis. I knew this actually about Geena Davis. So Geena Davis, you know her, right? She used to be married in real life to Jeff Goldblum, the actor from The Fly, and who's in all those movies. And he was in the new Oz one, Wicked. Anyway, she is like an expert archer person thing. I'm not an archer, so I don't know. What do they say here? It says, she is an Olympic level archer who almost made the 2000 team for arching in the Olympics. Geena Davis, who would have thought, right? Y'all should know her from Thelma and Louise. But I thought that was interesting, and I did know that one already. I had already heard that one. Now you got Margot Robbie here. If y'all don't know who she is, this is Margot Robbie. She can hold her breath underwater for 5 minutes straight. I don't know if I could do that. I am a pretty good swimmer, and as a kid, we spent most of our times in a pool because both grandparents had pools at their house. But there she is there from the Barbie movie, and she can hold her breath underwater for 5 minutes or more. I don't know. I don't know if I can do 5 minutes now. I'm kind of old, but thought that was interesting. So, Margot, nice work. Whoopi Goldberg worked as a beautician doing makeup for the deceased before the funerals. Dude, I did not know that. I've guarded Whoopi. I've talked to her about a lot of things, but I never knew that she did that before she was famous. And of course, she is from around the Bay Area, and her daughter lives up in Berkeley. And I used to guard her quite a bit in San Francisco as well as later in Hollywood and LA on a couple things. But I did not know that. So that's interesting, right? Who would ever thought or ever have thought Whoopi Goldberg would be doing that? Danny Trio, it says, this is great. You guys listen to this. Danny Trio was once hypnotized by Charles Manson in jail. No, I know, but that's nuts, right? Because Danny Trejo was a bad guy before he became famous in the movies and all this stuff. So is it surprising that Charles Manson hypnotized him in jail? I don't think so. But that is crazy. Bet you didn't know that. I didn't. Meghan Markle, of course, she was a professional calligrapher before becoming royalty. Now, you know who she is. She's married to the prince, right? Over there. And she used to be a calligrapher. I don't think that's real surprising because, like I said, these people are people, they did things before what they're doing now. And I think that's really interesting to know that stuff. Harry Styles, now I talked about the nipple thing, right? So Harry Styles, Carrie Underwood, and Mark Wahlberg were all born with extra nipples. And there's that polythelia thing again. So all those people were born with a third nipple. I can tell you that when they tell you that, it is a thing, and it happens with a lot of people. I have two tiny little, they say were nipples when I was a kid, down on my lower belly here, but they're like tiny, 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 tiny. And I'm pretty sure that theirs are not fully developed nipples and stuff. But it's kind of crazy to think about that, right? What would suck is if it was a fully developed one, and then you're like trying to be intimate with somebody, and you're like, bam, check this out. A little embarrassing. Turn the light off. So that's interesting, right? Those three people. Who was it? Harry Styles, Carrie Underwood, Mark Wahlberg. Ashton Kutcher has webbed toes. Okay, this one I knew. Kutcher, it's just one toe. It's not toes. He has one toe next to another toe, and they are webbed together with some skin. And he actually took his shoes off and his sock on one of the talk shows. I don't know if it was Jimmy Fallon or whatever, and kind of showed everybody and was talking about it. It's kind of his thing. And he likes to tell everybody and show it to them. So web toe, just probably a piece of skin. I don't know. It's weird though, right? Probably swims great. Did you know Elvis Presley was naturally blonde, but dyed his hair black for his iconic look? I think I did know that. He had a twin brother, as you all know, that passed away before he was ever famous. And I believe in some of those old pictures of his brother and him when he was a younger boy, he had the blonde hair and stuff. So not so surprising that he went and dyed his hair black later. So that one's kind of interesting, but not like, over the hill or anything you wouldn't know anyway. Surprising connections and origins. We already knew this. Most people know Dionne Warwick is Whitney Houston's cousin. When Whitney was up and coming, Dionne Warwick was always doing stuff with her and talking about her, and Whitney would talk about her. And she kind of helped mold Whitney Houston into the singer she was before she wasn't anymore. And I think you know what I mean. So Dionne Warwick, cousins with the great Whitney Houston. Prince Harry, listen to this one, you guys. You want to crack up on this? So Prince Harry, y'all know him, right? We were just talking about Meghan Markle. Prince Harry once tripped on mushrooms at Courtney Cox's house. As a self-proclaimed Friends fanatic, he wrote in his book Spare that he was thrilled when he found himself at Courtney's house while party hopping with friends and needed a place to spend the night. And so the story is he was at Courtney's partying with celebrities and rubbing elbows with everybody, and shroomed out really, really bad and asked her if he could spend the night there. And she obliged him and let him spend the night there. So these are those little things, the little stories of Hollywood you don't hear that they leak out later and stuff. But again, that doesn't surprise me because there was a time when Harry was being really crazy. Do you remember, like, years ago? He was like running around partying and doing all kinds of shit and embarrassing them. And of course, he's still got issues with his dad and his brother and all that stuff. So Prince Harry, not so surprising. We told you about Dionne Warwick. That's on the list here. Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson might be half brothers that share a father. So these two guys are really good friends. You know, they've done movies together. They hang out together, and they're just best buddies, right? So that's kind of crazy. That, and I wonder why it says, look, might be half brothers sharing a father. I'm guessing there is no way to confirm that for them for some reason. Interesting to know, though. Here's another good one. Jack Black's mother helped bring back the Apollo 13 astronauts. Are you kidding me? Jack Black's mother helped bring back the Apollo 13 astronauts. Now, that is an interesting story, right? Love Jack Black. Guarded him at Jimmy Kimmel a couple times. Funny guy, great guy. But I did not know that about his mother. So of all the people in the world, and as funny as he is, would you ever think that his mother would have been a part of the crew that helped get those guys back home? Jack Black's mom helped bring back Apollo 13 astronauts. Wow. We're talking about the nipple thing. Look at this. Harry Styles, we told you, had the 4 nipples. Carrie, Mark, and then there's Lily Allen, you guys. Now, Lily Allen says that she was born with 3 nipples each. Carrie had hers removed, but Lily claims hers is functional, it gets erect, and it lactates. No. You know, Lily, just a little pointer. Maybe don't tell people that. Don't tell people that. That's gross. Yeah, Lily Allen. We were talking about Whoopi Goldberg, so here she is again. It says Whoopi Goldberg's full name is actually Karen Elaine Johnson. She gave herself the name Whoopi because she just happens to be a gassy person. Oh my God. Again, whoop, maybe just keep it to yourself. I'm a gassy person, so I'm going to call myself Whoopi, and you know, Whoopi Cushion, right? Should have been like, what's her middle name, Cushion? We told you about Jenna Ortega doing the autopsies on her dead lizards. If you didn't know who she was, this is her here, Little Wednesday. And I think she's pretty proud of that little lizard thing there. So good job, Jenna. Good job. This is very interesting. At number 16 on their list, it says Jack Nicholson was raised by his grandmother, Ethel May, who he believed was his mother. Nearly 4 decades later, Jack learned that the person he thought was his sister June was actually his mother, and she was only 18 when she gave birth to Jack. He only learned this after a Time magazine researcher called him to confirm details for an upcoming story about him. So, what did I say? Celebrities are people too. I mean, the stories are interesting, right? But they're just like us, and we've got weird shit in our families and stuff, right? So it's only normal that they have them as well. And so for Jack, that's kind of an interesting story and one of our biggest movie stars ever. So I kind of like hearing about things like that when I didn't know about him. Here's Mr. Bill Murray. Before he was famous, Bill Murray was arrested at Chicago's O'Hare Airport on his 20th birthday after joking that he had 2 bombs in his luggage. While no explosives were found, he was carrying 10 pounds of marijuana. The actor, who later starred in Ghostbusters, avoided jail but spent 5 years on probation. So, you know, you can't say bomb in an airport. We all know that from Meet the Parents. Bomb, 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 bomb. Can't say bomb in an airport. They will arrest you and drag you into a back room and probably do some big time investigating before they let you go. So, but does it surprise me that Bill Murray did that? No, he's Bill Murray. He's a pretty crazy guy. So that's not surprising, but also fun to know at the same time. Okay, here's Natalie Portman, guys. one of my favorite actresses. I have the biggest crush on her. She, in my opinion, is one of the most beautiful females on the earth. Natalie Portman has had papers published in 2 scientific journals. Her high school paper, A Simple Method to Demonstrate the Enzymatic Production of Hydrogen from Sugar, was published in the Journal of Chemical Education, while at Harvard, she co-authored a study called Frontal Lobe Activation During Object Permanence, data from near-infrared, and I can't even say this, spectroscopy. I said it. Wow, I can't believe I said it. I really can't. Spectroscopy. Okay, so basically what I'm trying to tell you is fucking Natalie Portman's smart, okay? She's like Maya from Big Bang Theory, awesome. Just intelligent, super intelligent people. And here they are, actors, and doing the kind of work you wouldn't even expect them to probably be doing. That's pretty impressive, though, Natalie Portman. And beautiful girl, great actress. Love her. Well, Nicolas Cage, this is not going to surprise any of you. This was an interesting little note on him. It says Nicolas Cage might be one of the Hollywood's most outrageous spenders throughout his career. The Con Air actor has bought more than a dozen properties, including one of America's most haunted houses, 2 European castles, and an island in the Bahamas. But his strangest purchase, it's a tie between a shrunken pygmy head and a burial tomb and 150,000 pet octopus. Dude, it's like weird, obscure stuff with him. I mean, you kind of always think of Nick Cage as being kind of weird anyway. I mean, his roles are really weird. I knew about him spending all that money because, of course, he was in the limelight making big blockbuster movies with Jerry Bruckheimer and all these guys, Con Air and all these great movies. And then I guess he spent so much of his money, he went bankrupt and stuff. He's starting to come back now and some different stuff. Saw a couple things he did not too long ago, and not bad. I still like Nick Cage, but it's kind of weird, and it is kind of creepy that he has a shrunken pygmy head. I mean, I don't know. People are into weird things. I mean, Dalton loves zombies. What am I going to say about that? And then, of course, we have our boy band guy here. Plenty of celebrities have strange habits and even phobias, but One Direction singer Liam Payne might take the cake. This dude, before he passed, was afraid of spoons. Did you hear what I said? He's afraid of spoons, specifically used dirty spoons. He is so frightened. Someone puts a spoon down on your table. He's like, oh, it's a spoon, and it's dirty. Liam Payne, yeah, totally frightened of used spoons. Okay, that's a strange one. And that's why I wanted to tell you about it, because it's freaking weird. All right. Jumping over to Kelsey Grammer, of course, Frasier and Cheers actor, has spent his life surrounded by tragedy. This one's kind of sad. I knew some of this. I didn't know all of it. It says Kelsey Grammer, when he was 13, his father was shot dead outside of the family house. 7 years later, in 1975, his 18-year-old sister was abducted, raped, and murdered by spree killer Freddie Glenn. In 1980, his twin half-brother died in a scuba diving accident. Damn. Poor Frasier. That's crazy, right? He's this huge, successful actor guy in Hollywood and stuff, and then all that horrible stuff happened to his family. I want to say Jennifer Hudson, it was her sister, her mom, or somebody that got murdered. She's got some stuff in her family too. I didn't see that one when I was researching some of this stuff. One of the last ones toward the end here that tripped me out was Dr. Ruth Westheimer. Do you remember Dr. Ruth? So here she is, pretty old in this picture. Look at this, you guys. Dr. Ruth Westheimer is best known as the TV sex therapist, but she also is a trained sniper. Now, I know you're going to probably, laugh at that. But dude, she is a trained sniper. I actually guarded her. I've shown this picture before. Here's me and her back when I was much younger. I look like Frito Bandito there. That was a book signing in FAO Schwarz on Union Square up in San Francisco. when she came to sign one of her sex books. But hey, how weird is it that little Ruth last time on her is a sniper? So guess what? Don't fuck with Ruth because she'll take you out, man. That's crazy, right? You would never think that. It's like I wanted to share these because they're things you would never, ever think from that person. Okay, there's a good one too. Martin Luther King is the one who convinced Nichelle Nichols, who played Lieutenant Uhura on Star Trek, not to quit the show. Nichols was one of the few black women on TV in the mid 1960s and planned to leave after the first session or the first season until Dr. King urged her to stay. He said her character had opened a door for most black Americans. That's a little bit of history there. I found that very, very interesting, Dr. King, right? And Lieutenant Uhura. So very, very interesting story there. She almost left the show, wasn't going to do it. And she ended up staying and was a part of it for years, as you guys know. So good for her and trippy, just trippy stuff this time. Here you go. Actor Woody Harrelson's dad was a hitman. They say as a boy, the Cheers and No Country for Old Men actor first found out about his dad's job when he heard a radio report about his father's murder trial. Charles Harrelson spent 5 years in prison for killing a grain dealer before receiving 2 life sentences for killing a district judge. Harrelson Sr. also claimed to have shot a U.S. President John F. Kennedy. He died in prison in 2007. It sounds like his dad was a bit of a whack case, right? If he's claiming that he shot JFK, but he did kill those other people and a district judge. So that's like really super interesting to me because, well, Woody Harrelson's a little wacky too, don't you think? So when you think about him and McConaughey hanging out and stuff, I don't know. I think it's pretty interesting. Celebrities are people too. So there's always things that you don't know, like I said, before they got famous. And sometimes some of this stuff happened after they were famous. And it's just kind of fun to share those with you because they're things you would never. I mean, the whole Dr. Ruth being a sniper. I want to like see her get like an AK and come out here in my woods and see what she can take out. You know what I mean? See what Dr. Ruth can do. Before we leave this week, I want to leave you with a couple sentences that hit like a bullet. Okay? And I want you to listen to these and apply them to your life. Sentences that hit like a bullet. The first one says, "You are not confused. You are just heartbroken that the truth is not what you wanted." That's good stuff right there. Your boundaries will feel like an attack to people who are used to using you. Yeah, that I get. The disrespect was the closure. I like that one. Somebody disrespects you, that was the closure. Pack your shit and move on. You know what I mean? These are good life lessons here. You can't heal the same environment. You can't heal in the same environment that made you sick. That's a really good one. It should be on a t-shirt. It should be on a piece of paper that we wake up every morning and look at it. There's a lot of people in situations where they're trying to heal themselves, but they're still in the same environment that's causing all the ickiness in their life. So you can't heal the same environment that made you sick. They don't leave you. They just stop using you. That's another good one, right? So if somebody leaves you, they didn't care about you, right? They're just done using you. Call it a day. Call it a wash. You know, what's that guy saying in Bronx Tale? For $5, you never have to see him again. Quit chasing him for that $5. Forget about it. They didn't leave you. They just stopped using you. If you have to force it, it's not yours, right? That's common sense, folks, right? Life, common sense. You have to force it, it's not yours. And the very last one on the sentences that hit like a bullet is 90% of people forget to be the 10% who support. Right? Because we all have friends, and it's like you're always there for everybody. You're doing this and you're doing that, and nobody's doing anything for you. So take some of that stuff, apply it to your life. Let some of these bad, icky people go and forget about it. Don't worry about it. Try and have a chill day, a chill week. Get rid of all the bad people. with everything that's going on in social media and everything every day, we're jumping in right now to 2026 with this administration, all the crazy stuff going on. I mean, who knows what the hell is going to happen? But the more reels that I see that make me laugh, it's the only thing that's getting me through right now. So let's just try and laugh a little bit more and scroll right past that stuff. We got some new podcasts coming for the new year. They're going to be pretty fun. We're going to do them in different places. We're going to have some new guests on, and we're going to talk about things whenever we see stuff that needs to be talked about. This is We Need to Talk. I am Chuck Oliveris, your host from the Oliveris Ranch in White Oak, North Carolina. We'll see you in 2 weeks, everybody. Have a great 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Love you guys. See you soon.